This is ABC 7 News at noon. Your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Good afternoon. I'm Ray Collins. Scott Dennis is off this noon. A violent weekend on the Suncoast. 5 people shot in separate incidents, and now a reward money is on the table. The latest on the search for the killers from our Jess Dowdrick. Jess?
Good afternoon, Ray. 5 people are dead after a string of homicides on the Suncoast over the weekend. But police say the community does not appear to be at risk as the incidents appear isolated. The first incident happened at the Zoda Beach Resort on Longboat Key early Friday morning. This masked man went into the hotel just after 2:30. Police say he robbed the resort's nightside manager, Timothy Hurley, and security guard Kevin Carter, then shot and killed them both, fleeing the hotel with the cash drawer. Police have offered an $18,000 reward for anyone with information leading to an arrest and conviction of those responsible. Although the video only shows one suspect, police believe others could be involved. Police are offering a reward for information leading to the arrest. Then on Saturday, more gun violence claims the lives of 2 men in the Bayshore Gardens neighborhood. A woman living in the neighborhood says she was approached by several suspects and was forced into a bedroom where she heard gunshots from outside of the door. She escaped and called police. Deputies arrived to find 2 men dead in the home. They've been identified as Keith Jones of Jacksonville and Rodney Williams of Tampa. The Manatee County Sheriff's Office is still looking for 3 to 4 murder suspects in that case. The body of Andre Bryant was then found in Sarasota just hours after that double homicide in Bradenton. Police are investigating whether or not Bryant's death is related. Ray?
Unusual few days. Thank you, Jess Dowdrick. Other news now, protests continued over the weekend after the death of an iconic manatee at the South Florida Museum. 69-year-old Snooty passed away 2 weeks ago. Animal rights protesters marched outside the museum calling for a change in staff. An investigation found Snooty drowned when he became stuck in a small tunnel used to access plumbing in his tank. It's a passage usually blocked by an access panel that is bolted shut. Protesters are accusing museum employees of negligence.
Snooty died by drowning as a direct result of the negligence of the South Florida Museum. We want those negligent employees to be fired now, starting with the CEO and COO.
The museum is currently conducting an internal investigation after Snooty's death, and they also released this statement about the demonstrations. Quote, "No one is more committed to the well-being of manatees cared for at the South Florida Museum than our team members. Without facts, it is not appropriate to speculate or make any allegations. When the review is complete and action steps are determined, the museum is committed to sharing the information publicly." Happening today, a new way to help kids get ready for the new school year. Sarasota County Sheriff deputies have launched a back-to-school social media campaign. On it, they'll issue daily traffic safety tips related to school zones, school bus safety, and pedestrian and bike awareness as well. Deputies are working with the school district on the campaign.
Social media campaign for the Sarasota County School District is something that continues on year-round. It's a great way to communicate with students, with teachers, with families, with parents. So it's something that we're always using to tell great stories of the district.
And deputies will do a virtual ride-along on the first day of school, which is a week from today, August 14th in Sarasota County. To follow it, just use the hashtag SCSO Back to School 2017. And speaking of back to school, a Sarasota mother is looking to help less fortunate parents cross off all the items on their school supply list. Destiny Dexter is a Newtown mother of 4. She recently got her kids back from the state. Like many families, Dexter is impacted by the rising cost of clothes and school supplies. The struggle pushed her to host a school supply drive over the weekend.
We basically raised up money, like $1,500. And then I had some sending in packages and still sending in money to help me out with this.
Most people are like, oh no, that's embarrassing, but it's really not. It's helpful. You know, the kids happy, at least they got something to go to school with.
A survey by the National Retail Federation found out that families spend nearly $700 for each student. And drives like Dexter's helps parents save some of that money. $700. I think my parents spent about $5 on me.
Well, you know, times have changed. I remember you used to be able to get a lunchbox for, $1.50.
That's true.
And, now I have no idea. It could be 20 bucks for all I know.
At least, right.
It's pretty amazing, pretty amazing. Weather's nice outside, a little on the warm, steamy side in the afternoons, but all in all, our tower cam from Lakewood Ranch showing some pretty nice conditions as the sun rose this morning. A lot of blue sky. Now just a few fair weather clouds beginning to build. We'll notice the direction of that cloud movement to be kind of the same throughout the day. We'll develop a sea breeze. That sea breeze will push inland, and then it'll meet an easterly wind, which is going to be ever present over the next 4, 5, 6 days. That easterly wind will cause showers and thunderstorms to bloom inland where there is not much activity right now, just in extreme eastern sections of Hardee and DeSoto counties. When those showers and thunderstorms bloom, you will watch them slowly drift toward the coastline and rain themselves out over Gulf waters. So we've got a different kind of flow pattern and weather pattern set up this week compared to where we were last week when I left you on Friday. And that will be the case for the next several days. We'll talk about that in detail coming up in a few. Plus, we have a new tropical system down to the south of us. And we'll update you on what happened to that tropical system that we were watching last week out in the Atlantic. Talk all about it in just a few minutes, Ray.
All right, good to talk to you soon. Thank you, John. On to national news now. Tensions on the rise in the Far East. North Korea is threatening revenge in response to UN sanctions. ABC's Emily Rao has details.
North Koreans gathering in the street to see the regime's response to new sanctions, the toughest ever passed by the United Nations against Pyongyang, and with a unanimous vote. The country promising to reciprocate 1,000-fold for what it called America's villainous actions against our country and people, warning that if the U.S. thinks it will be safe because it is across an ocean, there is no bigger misunderstanding than that.
These sanctions will cut deep, and in doing so will give the North Korean leadership a taste of the deprivation they have chosen to inflict on the North Korean people.
The UN Security Council's sanctions against North Korea are expected to cost the regime nearly $1 billion a year. The unprecedented move spurred by unnerving progress from North Korea's nuclear and missile development efforts. Kim Jong-un conducting his furthest intercontinental ballistic missile launch just 9 days ago. President Trump tweeting he's very happy and impressed with the sanctions vote as Secretary of State Rex Tillerson travels the region to ensure all parties, especially China, stick to the sanctions.
The best signal that North Korea could give us that they're prepared to talk would be to stop these missile launches.
Tillerson says if the missile tests stop, the U.S. would be open to direct talks with North Korea, their latest provocative launch, the 11th test since President Trump took office. Emily Rao, ABC News, Washington.
New at noon, the number of gas skimming crimes are increasing in Florida. State numbers show at least 337 skimmers have already been reported this year. That's about a third more than last year's total. Sarasota and Charlotte counties have been not quite as impacted. The most recent one in our area was at a Marathon gas station in Bradenton last month. Most of the devices were found in the southeastern part of our state. Skimmers steal individuals' debit and credit card information. A hazmat situation in a Venice strip mall shut down shopping over the weekend. Fire crews arrived to a pool supply store along Jacaranda Boulevard Saturday, where they found a 1,300-gallon tank with several holes in it. The tank was leaking chlorine into an overflow basin. Adjacent businesses were evacuated in fear that the concentrated chemical may cause inhalation problems. No one was injured. A crew will remove the leaking tank and replace the overflow basin that the chlorine leaked into. Sarasota County is working on a place to deal with the homeless. County staff is working with the city to prepare a life-sustaining ordinance that addresses homeless camping and storage in public parks. An earlier version dealt with public urination or defecation, but those sections were removed at the request of the city. A draft for the new ordinance is in the works. Enacting it will prohibit specific activities by the homeless, but it doesn't mean they have to arrest or issue citations. Instead, officials say the ordinance is to make people aware of their rights and access to a shelter. All right, time for Chef Judy. And 4 words today. The rumor is baked, stuffed, sweet potatoes. Am I right, Judy?
You got it. We're doing pork on pork. It's going to bring together the baked stuffed sweet potatoes perfectly. You know, I switched over to sweet potatoes a couple years ago to cut back on my carbs from the white potatoes. But what I found is, from looking at other recipes, and a really simple one, is that you can simply stuff sweet potatoes just as easy. I'm going to show you a lighter version, but I'm going to show you the full-on bacon version that I think John Scalzi is going to certainly enjoy as we whip up some baked stuffed sweet potatoes with some grilled pork chops. I think you're going to like this one to start your Monday.
Just go do it. Go do it. If you're not in control, then who is? Live above the influence.
Attention, Americans eligible for Medicare. Are you getting all the benefits you're entitled to? Did you know there may be money available to lower your medical prescription costs? Call Health Markets and we'll tell you if you qualify.
Hi, I'm Dr. Martin Jeetsi. It's a new Medicare year. That means more changes and more confusion. The key question is, what can you do now to ensure you get the care you need in the coming year?
Call Health Markets today. You may qualify to save money on prescriptions. We'll help you find plans that may cost less, cover more, and could even lower your prescription costs to increase your savings. We help you find all the benefits you're entitled to, and we do it at no cost.
Make sure you have what you need to get the care that's right for you.
Find out if you qualify to receive extra help with your prescriptions. Call the number on the screen now. Representatives are standing by.
What to do when your heating or air conditioning needs service or, heaven forbid, replacement? Call Air Now today. We've been serving Sarasota and Manatee counties since 1946. We offer $49.95 tune-ups, lease or finance options, and remember, service today or it's free.
If you're thinking about replacing your windows, what matters most to you? We found what matters is high performance. Our customers want energy-efficient windows built for Florida weather. Windows that can stand everything from scorching sun to hurricanes. Our customers want windows that reflect their life, their lifestyle. Windows that will last a lifetime. We listen to our customers, and as a result, we're growing. So if you're looking to replace your windows, stop here at New South Window.
Buy more, save more. Volume discounts on 4 or more windows.
Enjoy some of the best Suncoast restaurants on me. Just go to mysuncoast.com/dining, sign up for the newsletter if you haven't already, and you can win a $50 gift card to a restaurant in our area. We'll pick a winner each week, so go on our website and sign up now.
Now, the official Suncoast weather with ABC7 meteorologist John Scalzi.
Yeah, a lot of sunshine out there today. That sunshine really starting to heat things up, hit 90 already. We got a dew point of 74, so the combination of that heat and humidity giving us a feels-like temperature that again today be quite warm, coming in around 100 to 105. So take it easy if you're going to be out of doors today and stay hydrated. Lots of fluids. That's going to be the name of the game, I think, each and every day for the next several days. As long as we have this easterly wind flow coming at us over land, that tends to heat us up a little more than those southwest winds that we had for such a long time last week and the week before. And the week before that, we were really kind of stuck in a reverse summertime rut. Went on a long time. Kind of unusual. Now we are going to watch that southeast wind over the course of the next couple hours shift to a little bit more of a westerly direction as the sea breeze builds. That'll be pretty close to the coastline. That east wind is going to tend to keep that sea breeze pretty close to the coast, I think. That's where it will become most efficient. We've got a few showers now in inland areas, a little bit of cloudiness coming in from the other coast. 88 Wauchula, Arcadia, Punta Gorda, 89 in Northport Parish, Bradenton, Lakewood Ranch, Venice, Inglewood at 88 as well. 87 degrees Longboat Key and Sarasota, the hot spot at 90. You can see a few of those showers that have kind of worked their way across the entire peninsula. Aided in part, I think, by the moisture sources of the Lake Okeechobee. I think we got a few of those showers now working right into Hardee, DeSoto, and parts of Charlotte County as well. those showers will tend to gradually drift closer to our coastline. And by the time we hit late afternoon, I think they'll probably have made it pretty close to the interstate. And when that happens, they're going to encounter our sea breeze and they will explode into thunderstorms. Good chance of seeing some thunderstorms around. Then as the sea breeze begins to die out, those showers will drift toward our Gulf waters. So this is a directly 180-degree shift in the direction of the storm motion. Last week it was all coming at us from Gulf waters and then drifting toward the other coast. This week it's coming from the other coast and drifting toward Gulf waters. And that's kind of typical for this time of year. That's the way it's going to be. Now, none of it is forecast to become severe across our region. Such is not the case across the country. We do have a zone of very strong thunderstorms built up today. And in fact, around the Delmarva, that could even have a good chance of becoming severe as that low pressure area moves in that direction. Anywhere along this frontal boundary, there's the potential for some strong storms, but particularly around the Delmarva, could see some flooding, flash flooding a little bit later on today. We also have a new tropical system way down to the south. Talk about that in a second. For us, it's all about that high pressure ridge, bringing us that easterly wind, keeping the sea breeze closer to our coast and bringing the storm motion from inland toward Gulf waters each and every day over the next several days. Sunshine, warm temperatures, west movers, and then the new storm down to our south stays away from us. There it is right there. This particular storm system is showing some signs perhaps of strengthening. A nice little eye wall beginning to develop. That system right there is going to approach Belize or perhaps the Yucatan as we head into the overnight tonight. Named Franklin, it's a tropical storm, could become a hurricane, stays far away from us. Forecast over the next couple of days calls for more of the same. 40% chance of showers or thunderstorms with daytime highs warm, perhaps a little cooler as we head into the end of the work week. Back to you, Ray.
All right, thank you, John. On to health news now. Before heading outdoors, many of us buy sunscreen for our skin, but don't forget your eyes. Yeah, ultraviolet rays can be harmful to your vision, and doctors say it's actually possible to get a sunburn on your eyelids. The condition is rare, but if exposed to too much UV light, the cornea, which is the clear tissue over the eye, can get a thermal burn. Also, artificial UV light, like the ones in tanning beds, just as bad for the eyes as it is for the skin.
UV protection is good for all kind of structures of the eye, like the eyelids, the cornea, conjunctiva, lens, and retina tissue itself. So you can get damage and changes to the eye with exposure to UV light, so it is very important.
So to protect your eyes, doctors recommend wearing sunglasses. Those wraparound sunglasses are best if you're going to be outside a lot. And also a wide-brimmed hat, also always a good idea. And if you're buying discounted sunglasses, that's okay, but a good idea to replace them about every year if you don't lose them first, like me. Still to come on your Suncoast News, a stolen car leads to the death of 3 teenage boys in Pinellas County. But first, he's a decade away from being a century old. How tennis is keeping one man in shape and full of life.
For your plumbing, electrical, or air conditioning, and services is qualified, and service calls are free. And services.com, AND services.com.
Being the caregiver for my husband is truly a blessing, but sometimes it's easy to lose a part of myself. To be my best, for him and for me, it's important to have time to be able to recharge. When I called Tidewell Hospice, they gave me the chance to do just that. They helped me find the time to care for myself, all the while with the peace of mind of knowing my husband is in the very best hands. Tidewell Hospice, it's more than you think.
Today, everyone is looking for more fashionable choices in flooring than ever before. And G. Fried has responded with a huge selection of carpets, tile, wood, laminate, and vinyl. Installed by a highly skilled team, G. Fried has got everything you're looking for and more. The next time you think about quality flooring, think G. Fried Flooring America. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
No theater lover's bucket list is complete without the classic black comedy Arsenic and Old Lace. to adorable old ladies who just happen to poison their tenants and bury them in their basement. Fun and farcical, this hilarious play is heating up the summer at the Players Center from August 9th through the 20th. Call 365-2494 or visit us at theplayers.org. You'll die laughing when you see arsenic and old lace.
Get the hottest deals of the year during the summer clearance event going on now at Sunset Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Sarasota. Come shop the Suncoast's largest selection of Ram trucks. Get maximum cargo space and more comfort with a new Ram Quad Cab for as low as $24,999. Or spread out in your spacious new Ram Crew Cab and save up to $10,000. Better prices, bigger selection. Go to Sunset Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Sarasota today.
The official Suncoast Storm team at ABC7. We're here for you.
For your plumbing, electrical, or air conditioning, and services is qualified, and service calls are free. And services.com. AND services.com.
Well, some doubly sad news from the world of baseball. We lost two big names the past day. The 1979 American League MVP Don Baylor has passed away. He went on to manage the Colorado Rockies in 1995. He was manager of the year, in fact. He passed away at 68 years old. And former All-Star catcher Darren Daulton has also passed away from a 4-year battle with brain cancer. Daulton was the leader of the Philadelphia Phillies NL championship team back in 1993. He played 14 and a half of his 15 seasons with the Phillies and then finished his career with the 97 World Series champion Florida Marlins. Daulton was just 55 years old. In other Diamond news, thanks to the Rays, the Cubs remain atop the National League East. The Rays were shut out in the first 2 games of their series with the Brewers before staying 5.5 games behind the AL East leading Red Sox. The Cubs still own a half-game lead of Milwaukee despite their 9-4 loss to the Nationals. Well, by the time most people have been playing tennis for 30 years, they're in their 40s or 50s. But not this guy. Ed Parker picked up the sport when he was 60 years old. Now he's 90 and still going strong. Like any athlete, Parker says the game takes a toll on his body, like his legs and his knees, but he's all about smiles and making pretty good shots.
Sometimes they will beat up on me, you know, because it's times I ain't playing too good.
Gives us hope and inspiration that we can get out on the court and play half as well as Ed. We just love him to death and hope that he continues to keep playing.
Ed spent most of his career with a printing company, and he says tennis is just as much a mind game as it is a physical game. Tennis, indeed, a sport of a lifetime. Let's check back with Chef Judy now, who's got details of a baked stuffed sweet potato. Judy?
And Ray, you should know better than anybody about tennis, and I'll be watching you when you're in your 90s playing. So what we're going to do is we're going to season up the pork chops. Have you noticed how popular pork in very different ways has become, not only in restaurant menus, but in your grocery stores? It's really prevalent because it is a little better for you, for the most part, not necessarily bacon, but the pork tenderloin and pork chops, than red meat. They call it the other white meat for a reason. But what I'm going to do is I have my griddle pan, just a touch of oil I rub on the back part. We'll season these two babies up on this once we flip it over. And let's get that grilling right here in a griddle pan. Very simple seasonings. I'm using the Colonial seasoning from the Spice and Tea Exchange on St. Armand's. Bright red pepper, parsley, garlic, really great flavors, paprika, but you can simply use a Montreal steak seasoning, salt and pepper, garlic salt's always great. Now let's get to the sweet potatoes. Always roast your sweet potatoes instead of putting them in the microwave because you want to bring out the natural juices. Just taking the sweet potatoes out of the oven and putting them here, look at that. Delicious. It's almost like a maple syrup on the base of this dish that I put them in, right? It's going to be perfect. So you're going to roast the sweet potatoes and just until they're soft. Be careful not to overcook them because what will happen is you'll lose the skin as the base. And you want the skin as the base because that's the vehicle. What's really fun is you can just create a baked potato bar for your family. So you can put out different cheeses, bacon, you could use turkey bacon if you want. You can even use leftover pork chops, dice them up and put that in your sweet potatoes or chicken for a second meal. But this is just a really fun way to have a midweek meal, or you know what, on the weekends, it's just gonna, this pairs well with just about everything. So see, now you're gonna see, I have a tear on that particular one. I always make 2 extra potatoes, just so I can have nice, full, stuffed potatoes, and because the skin's gonna tear a little bit. Now, in this bowl, what I'm gonna do is add some sour cream and butter, and we'll whip that up when you come back, and I'll show you how to garnish it. And ooh, this is like Comfort Monday for sure. I'll be back in just a few minutes.
Fresh out of the box, the Alfa Romeo won us over. We went in skeptical and left in awe of this gorgeous machine. Rediscover your passion for driving at Sunset Alfa Romeo of Sarasota.
Since 1972, Sleep King has provided quality mattresses and accessories at the best discounted prices available. Top brands like Simmons, Sealy, Serta, Beautyrest, iComfort, and more. With available free delivery, free financing, and free setup and removal. For a comfortable night's sleep with same-day delivery, even if we have to carry it on our backs. Trust Sleep King of Sarasota. Buy it today, sleep on it tonight.
Since 1928, Karastan has been setting the standard in carpets and rugs, producing non-allergenic wools that won't promote the growth of bacteria or dust mites like other carpets will. Karastan wools actively remove contaminants from the indoor air, making your home healthier. And there are many colors and patterns and textures to choose from. Come see for yourself.
So many possibilities worth exploring. Minnesota Flooring.
I'm calling in regards about my mother, and I'm here, and I just want to thank you because it saved my mother's life yesterday. And I'd like to know the names of the people that came in and saved her so I could call and thank them. And she's doing fine. It's a wonderful thing. Thank you.
When you fall and cannot get up, an accident can turn into a tragedy. But with Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast. Life Alert saves a person from a catastrophe every 10 minutes.
Life Alert is a lifesaver. If it weren't for Life Alert, I wouldn't be sitting here today.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-652-3012. That's 1-800-652-3012. Call now 1-800-652-3012. For a free brochure, call 1-800-652-3012.
Need more space in your place? The More Space Place can help. With Murphy beds that disappear to reveal a home office, living room, or den. Custom closets with designated areas for your shoes, bags, wardrobe, and accessories. Custom-built entertainment centers, garage storage systems, and more. The More Space Place has 3 showrooms next to Sonny's on US 41 South in Sarasota, on Lakewood Ranch Boulevard just south of State Route 64 in Bradenton, and on Tamiami Trail next to Panera Bread in Port Charlotte. Put more space in your place at the More Space Place.
It does things that seem impossible, feeling like it could change direction while airborne. Rediscover your passion for driving at Sunset Alfa Romeo of Sarasota.
At this hour for a suspected rapist who disappeared in Ohio. As Elizabeth Hurd tells us, the inmate assaulted a deputy while being transported and he escaped.
32-year-old Brandon Powell pulled off a dramatic escape, becoming a fugitive considered extremely dangerous and armed with a deputy's gun.
He does have a .40 caliber pistol. He has 2 extra magazines. He has about 30 rounds of ammunition.
The suspected rapist got away on Friday while being transferred from a psychiatric hospital in Ohio after being treated for injuries from a suicide attempt while in jail. Seen here in these hospital security images just before his escape, Powell was shackled at the hands, waist, and feet, while inside the police vehicle, Powell jumped over the seat and put the deputy in a headlock, crashing the vehicle before taking the officer's weapon and forcing the officer to undo his shackles, then handcuffing the deputy to the steering wheel. We're told Powell then disabled the radio and car before running away with the deputy's cell phone, wallet, and ammo.
You don't take a pistol from one of my deputies and threaten him with it. He's going to be held accountable for that when he's located.
U.S. Marshals and the FBI joined the manhunt over the weekend, and residents warned to stay alert.
I called my wife and my little boy Braxton and told them to leave home, lock the doors.
The injured deputy is said to be doing well, and the sheriff says he is angry this happened, but changes are now being implemented to make sure it does not happen again. Elizabeth Herr, ABC News, New York.
Also happening today, a Northwestern University professor and Oxford University employee suspected in the stabbing death of a 26-year-old Chicago man are in court. Wyndham Latham and Andrew Warren are facing first-degree murder charges in the death of Trenton Cornell Durenlow last month. Both were fugitives for more than a week before separately turning themselves in to California police. No motive has been released. Latham is expected to waive extradition to Chicago. He's also urging the public to wait until all the facts are released before making judgments. Back in this area, a fiery, violent crash in Pinellas County killed 3 teenagers. It happened early Sunday morning. Deputies say the teens stole a sport utility vehicle and sped off from officers in Palm Harbor. Officers say they were not chasing the teens at a high rate of speed at the time, but attempted to stop the car earlier in the night. Deputies say all the teens had prior criminal histories.
I saw it, I go, oh, they passed on, they're done. And that's sad for their families.
I don't know what these kids are doing. What are they, 13 years, 14, 15 years old, out at 4 o'clock in the morning? There's a problem right there.
A 4th teen in the SUV survived. Back in 2015, police in Pinellas County made nearly 500 arrests for juvenile car thefts. That's more than any other county in Florida. New at noon, some scary moments for passengers and crew aboard an American Airlines flight hit by severe turbulence. The flight was from Greece to Philadelphia on Saturday when the turbulence happened half an hour short of their destination. Passengers say the ride was so rough it sent pillows into the aisle, wine across the floor, and drinks hitting the ceiling.
Suddenly it felt like the whole plane was in free fall.
Babies screaming, people in front of us hitting the ceiling.
10 passengers and crew were taken to the hospital. Turbulence leaves an average of 58 people in the U.S. injured each year, mostly those who don't put on their seatbelts. Other news now, a follow-up on severe weather sweeping across the country. New flash flood warnings are in effect, and tornadoes in the Midwest are leaving a trail of destruction. ABC's Ginger Z has the story.
Up to 8 inches of rain inundating Kansas City, and now the storm's barreling east. High winds nearly ripping the roof off this store in Texas, and New Orleans saturated after nearly a foot of rain fell over the weekend.
It's really crazy. You can't go out your front door.
Plus, this storm leaving a trail of destruction in northwest Missouri, sending emergency crews to rescue stranded drivers. But the hardest hit area, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
We've got power lines that are down. We've got big trees that are down. We have roads that are closed right now.
An EF2 tornado early Sunday with 111-mile-per-hour winds tearing through town, shredding roofs, uprooting trees, and trapping dozens.
The entire sky turned green.
And the whole house just rattling and shaking.
The roof literally just collapsed on top of the people.
Kind of like the sound of a freight train was going by.
At least 30 people hospitalized, the extensive damage leaving some with nowhere to go.
I saw that tree had fallen. I just started crying.
A little more peaceful right now on the Suncoast, John Scalzi?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Tornadoes scare me.
Oh, yeah.
They're more than anything else, any other weather phenomenon, I think.
More than hurricanes.
Oh, yeah. Well, hurricanes, at least you get a little heads up.
That's true. Yeah.
And tornadoes, maybe 15 minutes if you're lucky, if you're very lucky. Across our region today, quiet conditions as we look at the Van Wezel webcam put it into motion. It was a beautiful start to the morning. We had some activity out in Gulf waters, way out in Gulf waters, but all that did was provide a little bit of a palette for the rising sun to cast its beautiful colors onto. And then as we head into mid-morning, maybe a few more fair weather clouds. But other than that, nothing but sunshine around, helping to boost our temperatures. Those showers you see out in the Gulf continuing to press farther and farther away. We got a little bit of activity in inland areas beginning to build. Those light showers will continue to drift toward our coast. And as they get about 10-15 miles from our coast, you'll watch them kind of explode later this afternoon into larger thunderstorms, which will gradually drift to the coast as well. Our rain chance today at about 40%, and those showers and thunderstorms will be west movers. We'll talk about that, talk about a new tropical storm coming up in just a few. Back to you.
All right, talk to you soon. Thank you, John. Developing the story here, the city of Chicago is planning federal legal action against the U.S. Department of Justice. The city is planning to file a federal lawsuit over the federal government's plan to illegally withhold public safety money from so-called sanctuary cities. It's the latest move to fight President Trump's immigration policies. Federal funding to local police will be tied to immigration enforcement. Cities are being asked to give immigration authorities access to police facilities, provide 48 hours notice to an arrestee's release. Chicago's mayor says he has a problem with this.
This is wrong, unconstitutional, not legal. Chicago will never be put in a situation of a false choice between being a welcoming city and the principles, as I said, of community policing.
Cities are also being asked to share immigration information with federal authorities. Chicago officials say the requirements would violate the city's welcoming city ordinance, which bans such practices. On to consumer news now, a battle of the sexes within Google. The company is rejecting commentary from an employee who suggested women don't get ahead in tech jobs because of biological differences. The writer also says men have a higher drive for status than women, and that the company diversity programs are merely political actions. Google's new vice president is responding to the email, saying the company is unequivocal in their belief that diversity and inclusion are critical to their success. The email is also condemned by Google executives as well. No discounts for illegal immigrants at Starbucks. Now the company is shooting down a rumor that its coffee shops will give discounted drinks and food to undocumented aliens. Ads have been circulating online about a Starbucks Dreamers Day. The ads say that all day the illegal immigrants get a 40% discount on any menu item. But the company says this is not true and the ad is 100% fake. Tesla is collecting cash. Now the company is looking to raise $1.5 billion to push its production of the new Model 3 sedans. It'll be the company's first mass-market electric car. Last week, Tesla's CEO says investors should have zero concern about whether Tesla will be able to make 10,000 Model 3S cars per week by next year. Tesla says they just delivered the first 30 models to employees 2 weeks ago. Back in this area, Manatee County's largest one-day adoption event for pets returned another year. The Pet Expo took place over the weekend at the Bradenton Area Convention Center in Palmetto. Hundreds of Suncoast pet shelters and vendors took part. The goal, to reduce the shelter's overpopulation.
I think this it just shows how a community can work together to address a problem like having so many homeless animals, but this is also a really fun event as well.
Over 50 animals were adopted this year, which exceeded the Expo's expectations. And Chef Judy's potatoes will also exceed expectations. Let's go back to her now in the kitchen. Judy?
It's gluten-free for you, Ray. This is perfect. So the pork chops are finishing off. Now, if you need just a little more time, especially if there's a thick bone, just put it on the pan. This is the pan that I cooked the bacon on, so we have a little bacon fat on there. We're going to pop these in the oven anyway. And what I did was I used a mixture of regular no nitrate bacon with peppered market bacon from the Fresh Market. It's on sale this week, so you might want to get some extra and put it in the freezer. So I scooped out the sweet potatoes. You can see how much filling there's going to be, but we want to make them abundant, so you might have 1 or 2 skins left over. You can either use butter, which I use, or to fluff it up a little bit is a little oil, and that's going to keep the calories down a little bit. But you know me, I like my dairy, so I'm going to add a little bit of sour cream. Not as much as if I were making white baked stuffed potatoes, because the sweet potatoes in general are just so creamy and yummy. Then I'm going to take some sharp cheddar cheese. And again, you can mix up your cheese any way you want. Gruyere works really well, so you get that nutty bite with it. But cheddar seems to be the most popular, so I'm going to save a little bit to go on top and then just give it a really quick whisk. Now I've cooked up my bacon, like I said, here it is. So we're going to take that and right into the potatoes, probably an abundant amount, and then add some fresh snipped chives. The thing I find is when you're cooking with kids, it's the green stuff sometimes. So what I do is I put the chives on the side, and as long as they like onions, they'll usually really go for having the chives. But you just have to kind of explain it to them. And then if you make it fun, like a baked potato bar, sweet potato bar, then they start to get more into it and they like to play with the color. So that makes it a little bit easier. So this is stirred around bacon, cheese. You know, this is perfect for a brunch item as well. Can you imagine a poached egg on top of one of these babies? It would make entertaining so easy because you can do all these steps before company comes or the day before, and then just pop them in the oven just for about 15 minutes just to get the top bubbling a little bit. So I'll be back to finish up and serve up some lunch with these delicious candy style bacon baked stuffed sweet potatoes.
There are many choices when it comes to AC companies. Our advice? Choose a company that performs employee background checks and is licensed with top manufacturers like Daikin. Daikin offers a 12-year parts and labor limited warranty. For better comfort and value, call Elite Heating and Air.
Hi, I'm Chef Judy. Every Wednesday morning, I'll be with the chefs at the Publix Aprons Cooking School serving up the most wonderful dishes. Watch Aprons in the Kitchen every Wednesday on ABC7's Good Morning Suncoast.
This is an important medical announcement. Xarelto and Pradaxa have been linked to uncontrollable bleeding and even death. If you've been prescribed one of these drugs and have experienced these dangerous side effects, you may be entitled to substantial compensation. Studies show that Pradaxa can cause more heart attacks than warfarin, and other countries have already issued safety warnings against this drug. Call now for a free assessment of your case and potential money damages. The call is confidential, there's no cost, and you may be eligible. Juries have awarded millions of dollars to Pradaxa victims, and thousands of Xarelto victims are filing their legal cases. Call the Drug Watch hotline. If you or a loved one used Xarelto or Pradaxa and experienced uncontrollable bleeding, brain hemorrhage, or even death, you must call now.
Call 800-793-6055. 800-793-6055.
Are you Goodwill?
Yes, because when I donate
or shop at Goodwill,
I'm creating a job.
I am Goodwill, yeah.
Start your day with a new Good Morning Suncoast team. Weekdays starting at 5 a.m.
There are many choices when it comes to AC companies. Our advice? Choose a company that performs employee background checks and is licensed with top manufacturers like Daikin. Daikin offers a 12-year parts and labor limited warranty. For better comfort and value, call Elite Heating and Air.
Well, most places are pretty close to where we are at the airport, which is 90 degrees. We're within a degree or two of that most everywhere across the area, inland and near the coast. East-southeast wind coming in at about 9 right now. Watch that shift a little more westerly as we build the sea breeze over the next couple hours. That sea breeze and this general easterly wind across the entire peninsula of the state are going to be instrumental in our weather over the next several days. 74-degree dew point, plenty of moisture around to work with. Plenty of shower and thunderstorm activity will develop today. We're already starting to see some move into extreme eastern parts of Hardee, DeSoto, and Charlotte counties. Not a whole lot near the coast yet. I think we'll probably wait until later in the afternoon to see that start to occur. First, these showers and thunderstorms will be closing in on Wauchula, Arcadia, Ona, and then eventually they'll get closer to the interstate where they'll probably become a little more intense. Across the nation, we have a frontal boundary kind of stalled out here with little areas of low pressure rippling along it. Those areas of low pressure helping to induce some stronger storms, particularly closer to the Delmarva, where there could be some severe weather as well as torrential downpours of rain. If you are traveling to any of the Washington, D.C. airports or even as far south as Charlotte or Raleigh-Durham, you may encounter some airport delays because of thunderstorm activity in the vicinity. High pressure for us, a tropical storm down to the south. That high pressure brings us the easterly wind, and that is going to be kind of the name of the game for the next several days. In fact, that easterly wind flow, which is what we would expect at this time of year, bringing us warm afternoon highs, west-moving storms kind of pushed along by those general easterly winds. And that new storm, Franklin, down to our south, the tropical storm, is not really going to impact us at all. It's certainly going to create some problems down there for parts of the Yucatan Peninsula. Not so much because of wind damage, but because of the higher elevations in the Yucatan. That storm is just going to produce massive amounts of rainfall, I think. And then further out, we were watching this cluster of showers for kind of tropical development, but it's kind of fizzled out. Shear and some drier air all combining together to kind of limit the thunderstorm development. The Hurricane Center is now giving it a 20% chance of developing 5 days down the road or so. Maybe if it holds together, chances of that are becoming less and less. There's Franklin. It's increased in intensity over the day to 60 miles an hour. There is a possibility that as it continues to drift toward the west, it may indeed become a hurricane before making landfall just to the north of Belize. As it moves through the Yucatan, it will probably re-intensify a little bit in the Bay of Campeche before moving into parts of central Mexico. Long and short of it is, it has little effect on the state of Florida. So sometime tonight, it'll be making it across the Yucatan, and then by Thursday, if it's still intact, making it over there toward central Mexico. For us today, our waters look pretty nice. A 5 to 10 knot wind out of the southeast should bring you a light to moderate chop with 2-foot seas, and the forecast calls for a 30 to 40% chance of showers, building inland, drifting to the coast each day. Ray?
Thank you, John. School starts Thursday in Manatee County this week and next Monday in Sarasota County. So this is a good time to remind parents about keeping an eye on their kids on social media. We've got some tips on reducing that risk.
Snapchat and Instagram.
10-year-old Sailor Han of Sarasota has her favorite social media pages, and her mother, Brooke, has an issue with both of them.
We're constantly on the Snapchat, and you know, and the picture disappears, supposedly, so you kind of don't know really what they're seeing, and that really concerns me.
As for Instagram, Brooke has a horror story about that one through a friend's daughter.
It was a guy from overseas, and he found her Instagram account, and he had actually killed a few girls off of Instagram, and her picture was on his wall.
Brooke is all too aware the bad guys are out there and watching closely.
They're posting in their bathing suits. You know, we live at the beach. They're constantly doing the selfies with the bathing, you know, and you try, but you can't keep up with everything, you know, because there's new apps coming out every day, and it's hard as a parent to keep up.
Sad thing, because you're having to give them some life lessons that you'd rather wait a few more years to tell them.
Exactly. Yes. I mean, my daughter's 10 right now, and I have to have these conversations with her, and you know, they think everything's innocent, and you know, to them it is innocent, but to older people, it's not.
Yeah, so with smart devices now, they really know everywhere that we are. Pictures that we take, there's location services on our phone, on our computer, that actually store that data, that GPS data where pictures are taken. So when we post them on social media, we're not just posting a picture of us and our family, we're also posting where that picture was taken.
Kevin Angel has worked in law enforcement, including in the Internet Crimes Against Children Division. He says the bottom line is, be careful how much you share.
Checking in at locations is also somewhat of concern. So if we check in at a place like a movie theater, for instance, we're letting somebody know where we're going to be for the next couple hours.
So Brooke puts the laptop away each night in the drawer out front, and she's careful also with her daughter's phone. After all, it's a whole new world.
No, I mean, we didn't have phones. We didn't have any of that.
And as for her daughter, so far, Sailor says she hasn't had anything bad happen. So nobody has ever tried to contact you that you don't know?
Not that I remember now.
Whole new world indeed. Coming up, a Rolling Stone deals with a cancer diagnosis. And a 9-year-old shooting for a job at NASA. The skills that he says makes him qualify for the job might surprise you next.
For your plumbing, electrical, or air conditioning, and services is qualified, and service calls are free, and andservices.com. andservices.com.
Credit card debt can ruin your life. If you owe $10,000 and minimum payments are siphoning away your paycheck each month, you can get debt-free in less time than you think.
I've paid $800 a month for the past 3 years and haven't changed the balance on my credit card.
Get Debt-Free Now has a program to reduce your debt, stop the harassing phone calls, avoid financial ruin, and settle for less than you owe.
I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders.
You're pre-approved for our special hardship program if you owe $10,000 or more. Upon payment of your new lower balance, your debt will finally shrink until you are debt-free.
My family no longer has 30 years of payments ahead of us at 20% interest.
There's no fees until you see results. So call now, make one monthly program payment, and free up your cash. Resolve your debt.
Call 800-628-1251. 800-628-1251.
Is your old garage door stuck or broken? Would a new one give you a lift? Let Precision Door Overhead Garage Door Service of Sarasota come to the rescue with prompt and affordable repair service. Replacement doors come with an array of styles and colors, and they are rated to meet and exceed Florida standards. From estimates to installation, your satisfaction is our priority. If you're not 100% satisfied with any product, service, or installation, we will make it right, because Precision Door Service is a name you can trust.
As a singer-songwriter, it's all about creating high-performance art that moves people. Same is true in making gorgeous cars. Fiat designs it. You're the artist.
Choose your palette just about any color combo inside out. No small wonder, state-of-the-art style Fiat.
Now this moves me. Oh, they're playing my song.
Let the art of Fiat move you at Fiat of Sarasota.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Enjoy some of the best Suncoast restaurants on me. Just go to mysuncoast.com/dining, sign up for the newsletter if you haven't already, and you can win a $50 gift card to a restaurant in our area. We'll pick a winner each week, so go on our website and sign up now.
For your plumbing, electrical, or air conditioning, and services is qualified, and service calls are free. andservices.com. andservices.com.
In a word, decadent. Just decadent. It's so good.
Right, isn't that just like, that could be your brunch, your lunch, your dinner, that it just, it's so filling as it is just by itself, but you could have it with the pork chops or kind of really any type of protein.
Even a salad, just with a salad.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best choice, but no, I made it with pork chops.
Yeah. That's a good choice too.
So, you know, you can find the recipe on mysuncoast.com. Just click on the dining section, the recipe, the video, and don't forget our weekly dining contest. You could enter to win a $50 gift card.
How do these freeze?
You know, sweet potatoes do not freeze
really?
so well. So what I would recommend is that I would do that in the refrigerator for 3 days, but you have to watch the skins get really soggy. Remember, anytime you freeze something like that has a starch in it, especially like a white potato doesn't freeze, it's because of that starch when the water from the freezer compiles with it.
So when you make it, eat it.
Make it, eat it, or leave it up to 3 days in the fridge.
There you go. This is absolutely delicious. Back to you, Rick.
Thank you, folks. Entertainment news now. Rolling Stones guitarist Ronnie Wood has been diagnosed with lung cancer. A doctor performed routine tests on the 70-year-old and revealed that he had this supernova burning away on his left lung. Wood has decided not to have chemotherapy if results turned out to be bad. He says he doesn't want to lose his hair, but he will undergo checks every 3 months. Taylor Swift in court today to testify in a disc jockey's civil lawsuit. The pop singer accuses the disc jockey of groping her during this picture. Key evidence is a photo obtained by TMZ. It was taken backstage at Swift's concert in Denver back in 2013. The former morning show host David Mueller denies the charges. He is suing for $3 million in damages, claiming Swift's representatives pressured the radio station to fire him. Dark Tower takes the #1 spot at the box office this weekend. The long-awaited Stephen King adaptation had nearly $20 million in ticket sales. In second place is the war epic Dunkirk, taking in $17 million. In third, the Emoji Movie with over $12 million in sales. And finally, a 9-year-old boy who describes himself as a guardian of the galaxy is hoping to add the real life to his resume. Jack Davis sent this letter to NASA, responding to an agency search for a new planetary protection officer. In the letter, he writes that he's qualified for the job because he saw many alien and superhero movies. All right? Jack got a letter and a phone call back from NASA thanking him for his interest and encouraging him to study hard so he can one day join them at the agency. We will keep you posted.
I love that. How wonderful. I hope they invite him to do a tour and meet some of the other scientists and things like that. That's really adorable.
I wouldn't be surprised if they do. It was a lovely letter.
Yeah.
Really top notch. To take some time out, you know, to acknowledge them was great.
Did you apply for that job to protect the planet too?
You know, I think that job requires a much higher level of math and science than I have. You know, we kind of joke around about it, but that is a very serious business. You know, remember when they brought back the moon rocks? Everybody was worried about spreading viruses on Earth.
That's right. That's right.
It'd be a great business card.
Yeah, it would.
All right. Have a good afternoon. We'll see you tomorrow morning on Good Morning Suncoast.